Hey, what's going on, guys? Today is the 26th of February 2017. I'm going to be going over some weekly trade ideas for this week. Remember, these are just trade ideas, meaning that you have to allow the charts to set up first before you take positions. First one on the list is Sina, S-I-N-A. Now, the chart obviously had an aggressive downside move. We had a little bullish harami that showed up on Friday's session. What I'm actually looking to see is I'm actually looking to see if the chart can continue off of this, consolidate some of this move that it had to the downside, retrace some of this move. And so I'd like to see it, if you can look at a bigger time frame, you can see a nice downtrend line chart pulled right back into that. So what I'd like to see is a pushback up to that trend line, which would put me somewhere closer to about $76 actually, for an area of a reshort and bring it back to the down. So I'm looking for a continuation to the upside and then a possible rejection of that trend line for a little bit more room to the downside. Next on the list is BMY. So what this chart is, I'm looking at a bigger trend flag breakout. Now, the chart came up to this flat top over here, pushed over it, retested it, and now that we're trying to break out over here, we have some buyers settling into the name, and I'd like to see if BMY could have a continuation. So along off of this range here that it sits, and an add obviously over this top breakout here, should get us a little bit higher. I think that the chart does have some room to go up. Obviously, there's a huge gap into this range. I don't think we get up there right now, but being that we have the downtrend that's being broken and we have some buyers stepping in, I'd like to see if we can at least get the chart up to the $60 range here before we do any other adjustments to the chart. Next on the list is CAG. So this is a nice chart. If you're looking at it from where it came, chart obviously has been flagging and moving nicely to the upside. Now what I'd like to see on this one is I'd actually like to see a push for a short. So if we can do some quick fib retracements on this, you'd see that we're coming right into an area here where it could possibly be a decent area for rejection. So what I'd like to see is actually one more little push up to $41.25 30 cents, somewhere on there, and that's why I'd be looking for some rejection on this chart. So it's basically a fib retrace move, and so you obviously have to allow the chart to come up to that, but we have some bigger candles here that I'd like to be short into. Number 4 on the list is CCI. So what we have going on this chart is we have a chart that closed over its 200 SMA. If we look back a little bit on the chart, we can see that we are coming into some areas of resistance here. If I go back a little bit more, I'll show you where I drew those lines from, and then you can see that the downtrend here broke over, pulled right back into it, came back to retest it, failed, came back to retest it and failed. So now that the chart's proven to us that it's having a little issue at that range, well, I'd be looking for this here at the $92.98, so let's just say 93, somewhere around here, for a possible rejection, pull back to the 200 SMA. That's where we can make a clear decision as to which direction we want to go. For right now, I'd play a small pullback off of the rejection area that it's shown to be obviously a down resistance on this downtrend here, or I would like to see a nice pullback off this range to the 200, hold, and then actually a nice long play could develop here, especially if the chart was to break over. So we're looking for a little push here, a pullback to actually see if we can get this retest of the 200 SMA. That's the main focus on this chart, is to see if it holds that 200 SMA for a bigger move to the upside. Number 5 on the list, D. So what I'm seeing on this chart is we're seeing a couple nice moves to the upside, a couple consecutive candles here to the upside. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see a nice rejection at this triple top. So the chart has proven to us that we do have a top in range. There it is here, there it is there, and we're coming right into it now. So I'd like to see if we can get some pullback off of this chart and maybe even pull us back into just about around this range here. So I'd be short into this range and an attempt to get back into about this $74.75 range. Number 6 on the list is GRMN. Charts obviously breaking over the downtrend. Nice push to the upside and a pullback to retest that area. Now that we've retested that area, I think we can see some continuation off of this move. And so what I'd like to do is, obviously, if the chart was to break over Friday session high, which puts me right about here, that that would trigger for me an automatic buy. And also it would break over a little resistance pin that we had on the first day gap up. So a break over Friday session high should trigger a long, and the chart should be able to try to retest some of this all the way to the upside. Number 7 on the list is JWN. This is just basically a flat top breakout chart. So if the chart was to come over the flat top over here, I would ultimately look for the entire gap to get filled, which is basically where it's pretty much at. So a breakout over that line here would give me an automatic trigger long, which just coincidentally works right along with the 200 SMA. So for me, I'd wait for this chart to close over this before I take it on the long side. So I'm looking for continuation move off of the charts, not just a one-day trade on it. So most of the charts that I do bring up have some sort of a setup for a continuation move off of it. Number 9 on the list is JNJ. Nice strong couple days coming up here. Charts coming right into a major downtrend resistance. I'd like to be short here on a little bit more push up to 123.15 or so. Again, and we should be able to pull the chart back down into this 120 range. So we're looking for some sort of a consolidation of this overextended move. One more push, maybe a hanging man, inverted hammer, some sort of a candle like that. Bring it back down into this $120 range, where we can then, reset some indicators and probably bring it up to the upside again. And this is actually number 9, KBH. Flat top breakout type trade here. So a long trigger would be obviously over the flat top. Now the chart have consolidated in this range for a while, but at least it's showing some sort of an uptrend for right now. And so we can expect that this sort of a chart pattern ultimately gives us a breakout to the upside. So a trigger alert here would be sufficient to get a long trade over the $17.40 range. Just a simple trigger alert could bring you into a chart like that. And number 10 on the list is KSU. So what we're seeing is we're seeing a nice little downtrend on this chart, and that's obviously broken. Now if you bring it in a little bit closer, you can see that there's a nice bullish engulfing on that breakout with some decent volume. So a slight pullback on this move for a day trade, a slight pullback on this move here to $87.51 puts you into a day trade scenario with a possible hold trade. Again, most of my charts are set up where you can get the 1 day move, but most of them are set up where you can also get a continuation move in that direction that we're looking for. So those are the 10 for this week that I'm looking at. Obviously, if you're interested in trading with me further, this is my Twitter handle at ICEMAN Trading, and there you can basically get any information on what I do and YouTube links and so forth. And if you are interested in day trading with me at ICEMAN Trading Academy, feel free to shoot me an email at barrymohan81@gmail.com. Have a safe, profitable trading week.